I'd like to recognize that we have a special guest and introduce our governor, Bruce Rauner. The governor asked to address the City Council today. I checked with our in-house historian, Chairman Burke. That's his night job. And he assured me that this is the first time a sitting governor has ever addressed the council. This is a unique opportunity because we, the City of Chicago and the State of Illinois, are at a unique moment together. Like Chicago, Illinois faces fiscal challenges that demand urgent action. While we may not agree on all of the solutions, and I think sometimes we can strike the word may, we do agree that inaction is not an option. This crisis that the city and state face is now at our doorstep because of years of deferred decisions. We must finally confront them head on. The choices we make today will have profound impact on the city we leave behind for our children. If we do not address our financial challenges today, the consequences will be felt for years to come. It would prevent us from making the essential investments in both public safety and public schools, roads and rails, parks and playgrounds. I believe firmly that a healthy and growing Chicago is essential to having a healthy and growing state of Illinois. Or simply put, as Chicago goes, so goes Illinois. In the past, we used to think that it was a zero-sum game of Chicago versus the suburbs, Chicago versus downstate, or sometimes even Chicago versus Illinois. But that was 30 years ago. Today we have an opportunity to turn the page on the politics of the past and build a vibrant economic future for every resident in every community. The governor has asked for the opportunity to offer his ideas, and we owe him the courtesy to hear him out. While we may have our differences, I believe that our interests are aligned and our goals are the same: to build a vibrant and growing economy for the city of Chicago, to confront the challenges we faced, from improving our schools to securing our pensions. We must work together. On behalf of the city of Chicago, I'd like to welcome the governor. Chairman Burke, do you have a motion to suspend the rules to grant the governor the privilege of the floor?
Moved, Your Honor.
Hearing no objections, so order. Governor, the mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's an honor to be in these chambers with you today. Thank you for allowing me to join you, and thank you for your service to the people of Chicago. Before I begin, I'd like to ask a small indulgence. Could I see a show of hands for the Republicans in the room? All right, I got 2, 3, 4. 4. All right. Got a few. And I thought our super minority status in Springfield was a challenge. You know, a friend heard I was coming this morning and asked if I felt like Daniel going into the lion's den. And I told him no, Daniel had much better odds. Truth is, this is more like me going home for dinner with my family, surrounded by Democrats with strong opinions who don't always agree with me. You know, I just drove up here this morning from Springfield, where people of all faiths gathered for the governor's annual prayer breakfast. And I'll tell you what I said to them, what I strongly believe, and what I think we can all agree on. And that is, the good Lord did not make us Democrats or Republicans. The good Lord put us on earth to do His work, to help each other, to work together, to make the world a better place. I believe that very strongly. I ran for governor because I love Illinois. Here's the simple fact. I work for you. I work for every family in every neighborhood, in every ward in the city of Chicago, whether they voted for me or not. I'm a proud resident of our state capital in Springfield now, but I was born here in Chicago. I was born in the shadows of Wrigley Field. And I love this city. I want this to be the greatest city in the world for everyone, for every family, in every neighborhood. But the city, like the state, is at a critical point, a tipping point. We can't continue to govern from crisis to crisis, bandaging over problems for as long as we can, and hoping to survive for another few years while we slowly slide down the scale of great cities. That's not the future I want for the city I love, and I know that's not the future you want for your proud city of Chicago. I'm eager to be your partner in a turnaround that benefits both Chicago and our great state. But to achieve that, we must be willing to work together. Compromise, accept things we might normally oppose. That's going to be required of all of us. For Chicago to get what it wants, Illinois must get what it needs. As much as all of us in this chamber love Chicago, we must recognize that there are 57,000 square miles of Illinois that exist outside our 230 square miles of Chicago. When I'm south of I-80 and I ask an audience what we need to do in order to turn Illinois around, you know what the number one answer I get, the most frequent response is? Secede from Chicago. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. Now, I got 20% of the vote. I got 20% of the vote in Chicago. So seceding would probably make my life a lot easier. But you know what? I've always been clear. We are one state. We are one state. We are one proud people in the state of Illinois. For Illinois to thrive, we need Chicago to thrive. Equally true, for Chicago to thrive, we need Illinois as a state to thrive as well. That's why I'm asking you here today to be my partner in turning things around. We face many of the same challenges as a city and a state. Structural problems, decades in the making. Over the last 15 years, Illinois has lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. We can't afford to let that continue. We must get more competitive. After years of overspending and overborrowing, Illinois and Chicago taxpayers are in a vice grip that is choking our ability to fund our schools, invest in our social services, and recruit job creators. Illinois as a state is in a terrible financial crisis. We don't have the money to simply bail out the city of Chicago. It's not an option. The result of years of financial neglect and mismanagement. The result is that those who need our help the most are the ones who get hurt the most. It's the social service program that can lift up our citizens that gets cut. It's the factories in their neighborhoods that shut down and disappear. It's the vacant land in their neighborhoods that reminds them that jobs are being created elsewhere. And it's their children who are victimized by senseless violence. It's time we change that. I want to partner with you and empower you to have more control over the future of every neighborhood. I want you to have the tools you need to save Chicago. We have to have different tools in different parts of Illinois. To turn this state around, we have to work together. Now, I know not everyone in this chamber supports every item on our turnaround agenda. Not even the mayor, and that's okay. But I suspect you may agree with our call for local pension reform. I'm confident many of you support lifting some of the state's 280 unfunded mandates that are imposed on the city government and local governments throughout Illinois. And I'm certain many in this chamber support more local control over issues like gaming. I'm willing to go to bat. I am eager to go to bat for the 2.7 million people of Chicago. But you must remember, there are over 10 million people who live outside the city limits. Just as you don't want the policies of Springfield to hold you back, other communities don't want all the same policies as Chicago. Other communities have their own needs, many of which are different from and sometimes conflict with Chicago's wants. One example is school funding. There is talk of so-called double taxation of Chicago residents for schools. But outside Chicago, folks see Chicago getting its own special deal, receiving over $500 million every year in net extra funding compared to the rest of the state's school districts. These different points of view are a tremendous challenge for us to all overcome together. Chicago's agenda does not and cannot stand alone from the agenda we need to bring back Illinois. So to achieve what we must requires sacrifice and compromise from all of us. If we work together as partners, we will accomplish great things for the state and the city we all love. I know we can do it. Let's start the heavy lifting now. If we lift together, we will be able to accomplish so much more than we can alone. And if we lift together, we will restore the greatness of our city and our state so future generations have the chance to grow up in a Chicago and an Illinois full of opportunities, just as we did. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the city of Chicago, and God bless our great state of Illinois. Thank you.